Welcome to Toy Hill Studio. My name is Kendall Kessler, and I'm going to do something different today. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I have not met the medium that I don't like, and I've been going back to some things that I didn't finish quite a long time ago, and this is one of my few pen and ink drawings. Very fascinating medium that is all done with a line, and most artists use a small nib and just keep building it up over a long period of time to get the light and dark areas. And the only way you can do that is the distance between the lines. And then artists like me like to also get expressive with different types of nibs so that it's not just about building up an academic drawing. I thought what I would do at the beginning, since the drawing ends, it's going to end right here, is just show you a little something about pen and ink and then do a little bit of work on this. Now it's going to take quite a lot of time, so I'm just going to keep it as a pretty short one. But as I said, the only way you get shading is by the distance between the lines. Make sure I'm in this thing. And what we do is crosshatch. I'm real surprised I can do this with the pen up. This is really should be done sitting down. And the more lines, the darker it gets. And it gives you the illusion of light and dark areas because it's really just a bunch of lines. And then when anything is rounded, you have to take the lines around. Like, say, some kind of globe or something. You have to take the lines around, like it's a actual globe of the earth, and just keep building it up until it actually starts to have roundness. And some artists will leave one side completely blank so that it looks more representational the way things are. And other artists will just keep on scratching around and around and around. And eventually it will actually start to look round. And then, say it's a globe sitting on a flat area, then you can take flat lines around it. Flat lines, that's not the word. Lines that are horizontal, this way, like that, and you can make a flat area. And it's really, and in many ways, a very intimidating medium because you can't erase. And I used to tell students, well, yeah, it's intimidating, but don't take it so seriously. If you notice, I just scratched around, didn't worry about it so much. Now, there are some artists that like to get into really complicated systems of real fancy lines, getting all these curves and going all these different ways so that when you look at it, you see a precise method to the way the lines are put down. I prefer the scratching. One of the greatest artists at handling this sort of thing was Rembrandt. And if you want to look up his etchings, you'll see how incredible he was at handling a line to make light and shade. Really brings me back. When I taught at Radford University, I had students in Art of Preach class. Most of them weren't artists, weren't art students. And I had them try all these different mediums. And the first time I did this, I didn't have any kind of equipment to like project what I was doing. So I put a piece of paper up on the blackboard and with pen and ink just started doing this, and of course it started rolling down my arm. Okay, this is kind of tricky. And I actually had students get pen and ink, had them put those jars on the desk. And because you can imagine what I didn't think would happen, happened. Spills. You would always have one student at least dumping that inkwell all over the place. So then I decided, well, I still want them to try this. It really gives them a good experience. So what I did was brought in tape. Okay, tape down your inkwell so we don't have it all over this lecture classroom. It wasn't a studio. And somebody would still knock it off with the tape on. So I thought, okay, what we're going to do is just get a Sharpie, and it gives you pretty much the same effect. And all you need is something that makes lines. I don't know why I didn't think of that at the beginning. I just wanted them to have the real thing. Now, as you can see, there's just all kinds of brush and stuff here. It's going to take a long time to develop. But I thought I'd just develop some of it and show you how that's done. See these leaves right here? And you see, I'm just not taking it super seriously in terms of, worrying about if I'm putting a line in the wrong place. If you keep it loose, it's just a great medium. But then it's not my medium. I'm sure there are a lot of pen and ink artists who would disagree, and they really get into some very complicated systems. Still can't believe this thing is working when I'm holding it like this. It sure didn't do that when I was teaching. So I'm real pleased, and the ink just keeps coming. I'm not even having to dip it very much. But it's for people that really like lines. And some people do. It's not my medium per se. I mean, as I said, I like it all, even photography. I should say even photography. Well, most painters are not really into photography, but I like it all. But, having to fool with a line and building it up over a long period of time is really not for me. Now, see, in this area where the birds, what do you call these? Well, that's, I guess, just part of his feathered tail. To get little light areas, you can just scratch it very, very lightly, and it won't fill in, so you can still see it as an actual, what we call value, light and dark areas. Let's see, how far? I haven't gone I've gone already 5 minutes. Now, see, for a lot of this, I will get different nibs because, as I've said ad nauseum, for me, it's never just a matter of reproducing something, it's my own expression. And by having all these different nibs and all these different marks, I get an expression. And that's all. It's always what it's all about with me. Now, when it's some real dark areas to bring these leaves out, I cannot believe there's still ink in this thing. I still haven't dipped it again. That's amazing. Amazing it didn't do that when first time I demonstrated this in front of 50 people. It went right down my arm. They were seated, so it wasn't so bad, but when the inkwell started flying, I realized, this is not too smart. And it was always just one. It's not like a bunch of people were dumping ink all over the place, but it's just too easy to knock it off. Put another leaf right through here. And you can see I'm just really, for me, having fun with it. It's going to take a while, so I'm certainly not going to demonstrate the whole thing. And the talon is right here, so I need to get real dark around that so you can really see it. Oh, I forgot to say this is a wood thrush. Beautiful bird. If you've ever seen a wood thrush, you know it's just the most gorgeous raw sienna color with these dots on the underside, which I've always thought so beautiful. And I'd considered when I found this in some old things that I never finished that I might do this and then get out some oil pastels or something and put the color in. But then I thought, no, I think I'll just leave it as a pen and ink. I don't have a whole lot of black and white work in my portfolio, and I think it's nice to have a variety. As I said, I even have photographs, but since most of my paintings are creative versions of my photographs, don't have a lot of photographs. In fact, I'm seriously thinking of using one of my photographs that I have in my portfolio for my next painting, but it's going to be very creative. It's never my point to reproduce the photographs. Nothing wrong with that. Don't misunderstand. Not putting down photorealists. It's just not for me. You have to stick with exactly what's there, and you have to leave out brushwork. And to me, what really makes artwork so interesting, all the expression that artists put into it. And I find that very hard with photorealism. Now, I'm sure there are photorealists that would disagree. That's the great thing about art, about this world. We can disagree. Really not happy with what's happening in our country right now. I have been called names, really bad names, for my opinions on Facebook. Good grief. Can I have an opinion? It's there's just a tremendous amount of intolerance right now that really, really needs to go. We need to stop that. Okay, let's see how far I've gone. Yeah, I think that's long enough. As you can see, this is going to take a long, long time. And it's not going to be in my portfolio yet, probably, when I upload this. But I will have a link to my other black and white work. You can see lithographs and pen and ink and charcoal and so forth. So, if I didn't say it, thanks for watching.